President Trump's recent comments about Montenegro have sparked some new backlash. You'll remember the president drew attention for appearing to shove Montenegro's prime minister aside at a NATO summit last year. Well, now he's taking aim at the tiny Baltic nation, describing the people there as, quote, very aggressive, and suggesting the country could cause World War III.
Montenegro is a tiny country with very strong people.
Yeah, I'm not against Montenegro or Albania.
No, by the way, they're very strong people. They're very aggressive people. They may get aggressive, and congratulations, you're in World War III. Now, I understand that, but that's the way it was set up. Don't forget, I just got here a little more than a year and a half ago.
Right.
But I took over the conversation 3 or 4 days ago, and I said, you have to pay. You have to pay. And the Secretary General said that because of President Trump, last year we had an additional $44 billion, with a B, billion dollars raised for NATO. And this year it's going to be much more than that.
So here to take us through the latest is CBSN contributor Alex Kliment. He writes for Signal, a newsletter produced by G0 Media. All right, Alex, Montenegro. Now, Montenegro issued a statement. They want the world to know they are a peace-loving nation.
Right.
They're not interested in starting World War III.
Right.
What more can you tell us about this tiny country?
Well, so Montenegro is a small country in the Balkans, part of former Yugoslavia. It was in a confederation with Serbia for several years and has been independent since 2006. Around that time, the leader of Montenegro decided to shift Montenegro's allegiance away from Serbia and towards the West in a bid to join NATO as a precursor to joining the EU. It was a controversial decision. A lot of nationalists within Montenegro, which was at one point bombed by NATO, I would remind people, were opposed to that. But the biggest opposition came from Russia, which sees any eastward expansion of NATO as a threat to its sphere of interest. So it was curious that that President Trump took aim at Montenegro in particular just days, hours even, after this closed-door meeting with President Putin, who has made no secret of his misgivings about NATO expansion eastward in general and into the Balkans in particular. So there's a specific issue there that, you know, Russia didn't like this. Perhaps Putin made that point to President Trump. But there's a deeper issue here as well, which is about whether President Trump's beef with NATO is about pay or about principle, right? On the one hand, he says, we're perfectly happy to continue to support this alliance so long as people pay their membership dues, right? Meet their targets for defense spending. Which suggests that if he just thinks it's a ripoff, if other members pay more money, maybe he's okay with it. But by calling into question the idea that the U.S. should defend Montenegro at all, that's a very different question, because it suggests that maybe irrespective of what members are paying, he just doesn't believe in the idea that an alliance of this kind is worth it or important for the U.S. or for its allies. That's really the question that comes out of this. It's not about Montenegro, it's about the bigger picture. What does this president think of NATO?
It's very true. And John McCain tweeted about that, and he said that, you know, comments like that in his tweet, he said, play right into Putin's hands.
Well, look, I mean, as I said, I mean, Putin Russia in general has made no secret of the fact that they don't like NATO's eastward expansion. But, you know, we've talked about this before. There is a real question about what the purpose of NATO is in the 21st century, right? I mean, this alliance was formed after World War II to protect Western Europe from Soviet aggression. Since 1991, when the Soviet Union collapsed, the alliance has sort of been feeling around for new missions. Is it about democracy promotion? Is it about security? Is it about fending off Russia? Is it about counterterrorism? So I think the question when we ask what does Trump think of it is, look, it's one thing for NATO to be searching for a new mission. That's a fair question. But if the President of the United States is not even interested in it at all, then it's a moot point. Right? And I think that's really what came up with the Montenegro thing.
Right. In fact, there's like you said, there's a good Signal newsletter on that very topic.
There is.
What is NATO going to be? What has it tried to be over the past few years?